Okay, today going to review for you the Sanyo VPC-CS1 camera slash video recorder. Long story short, basically the old Sanyo I had, which was pretty nice, I liked it, somehow got left on the back of a car and is missing. That's the short of it. So obviously I need a new camera so I can make videos, and since that camera's gone, I can't really record this camera being used. So you have to actually see what it produces. Right now I'm recording at its highest video setting, full HD, as it says, the 1920 by 1080 60i, as you can see there. It does have 10x zoom, which, considering how big this guy is, I'm a little impressed on that. It's not too bad for a zoom for something this big, but based on my test video that I've done so far with this, and you'll probably see because this is being recorded from it, the video is a little grainy. Not too impressed at the quality of the video. It could be a lot better compared to the last one I had, the Sanyo, I think it was the VPC-CG10. You can look up my other video review on that. But I thought that had a little bit better optic sensor, so to say. As far as the features on this guy, we got pretty much the same stuff as the other one did. It doesn't have the option to go through and do what do they call it? The direct video hookup, where you could basically hook the camera up to your computer and it could actually record what was on your screen. This one doesn't seem to be able to do that. Haven't seen any mention of that in manual. First thing I want to point out here is it says it does 8 megapixel photos. That is a lie. The photos at 8 megapixels are extremely grainy and blurry and all that stuff. So I went ahead, looked at the manual here. You can make out that it says still images approximately 3.3 million pixels. The video HD mode records in approximately 2.8, and video SD mode records in approximately 3.3. That's a little interesting. And notice that's the specification under image sensor. And in case y'all don't really believe me on it, when you go to the 8 megapixel option here, of course that's 8 million pixels. So as it said before, it does about 3 for stills. Yeah, you're actually just recording at 3 megapixels. Resolution, I'm going to be taking the pictures at, I'm going to try and include in here. It's going to be at the 3M setting, which seems to be one of the better qualities for it, which is 2288 by 1288. This thing is, I'm sadly a little bit disappointed with this thing. I expected a little bit higher quality because I was used to that other Sanyo that I've been using for a while, and this, compared to that, I think the video quality is actually a little bit worse. But it does have a couple features on it that I do like. As you can see on the little still picture here and on the photo here, we have this little tiny thing right above it. It's not a flash, not like another light. So that's going to be, I think, pretty helpful when I go through and record some of the more smaller things I do inside of cases, whatnot. This case is very, very small, the casing of the actual unit itself. Literally, the thickness of my finger here, it's going to be probably just as thick, if not thinner, this entire body here. So it makes it a little odd to hold for long periods of time. It does have the 2 microphones as it did before. It does have a single speaker there. As far as the display quality is about the same as it was on the last Sanyo, the VGC. Not too bad there. The one thing I could complain about is the buttons. Unfortunately, this does not have any pictures of like the back of the camera that I can think of. Here we go. You don't really have the kind of pistol grip like behavior before, where you had basically all the controls in this one section of the camera. It was kind of like a little cross before, and you had all your options. You could just literally do it with your thumb. This one, you literally would have to use almost two hands, one to hold the camera and the one to access the buttons. They're going to be on this portion here. The buttons, the little cross arrows, up, down, menu, set, and the record, play, toggle are all on the actual screen itself. And they're very, very small. I actually have to use the tip of my fingernails to actually press them in. So that's going to wear out very quickly. The memory card reader here, you probably are not going to be able to get that out of here very well, but it is a very very annoying way to get a memory card out of a camera. You know, you got the standard, you get the little panel, you pull it out, but the bottom part of it is what's attached, and you have this overhang on top of it. So you actually have to kind of pull the whole plastic rubbery piece down, at the same time get your other hand in here to push it in and eject it. Then I find that your finger's kind of too big for it, so the little plastic piece pops back up, and you got to kind of move it out of the way by grabbing it a different way. It's a bit of a hassle, and I really wish I could record that so you could see it, but obviously this is the only decent camera I've got at the moment for recording that, besides my cell phone, which, yeah, I'm not going to do that. But it doesn't have any pictures of the very small... here we go. There's the one I'm looking for. I mean, the very, very small button. So think about really like the entire length of your fingers, this whole camera here almost. I mean, that's being pretty generous. I mean, it's a very, very small camera. And these buttons here are extremely small to go through and press. You got the little tiny cross there, all that. Similar to the last Sanyo I reviewed, the multi indicator light for everything is still the same. If you're recording, taking picture, it basically flashes. You got your zoom in, zoom out, and it's a little bit confusing when you first look at it, but you get used to it. The top button here is for photos. The bottom button there is for doing your video. And how you do autofocus on this is you basically hold in the button a little way, it kind of starts to focus, and you press in all the way. I find because of how small the buttons are, I actually move the camera a lot when I do it. Speaking of which, of moving the camera, the video stabilization feature is on at the moment. So shaking you see, let me know if you think that's pretty bad or what. It seems a little bit better than the last one, but I'm still expected a little bit more. The AC adapter, standard, you go through, take the battery out of the camera, put into the AC adapter, it'll charge it. It's actually the same adapter from my last camera, so now I don't have an extra battery, but I also have an extra AC adapter now because of it. So not yeah, it's a 2.7 inch wide screen on it. Interesting feature of this is the zoom. When you go and actually zoom in on something, it actually tries to focus the microphones in on that area. So you're only going to pick up sound more so from what you're actually looking at compared to everything around you. That's really nice if you're actually outside videotaping people. And you can go through and take pictures at the same time you're recording. So if you're that kind of person where you actually want to go through and make a still shot, you can do it. The problem I've seen with this is you have to actually go through and change to a completely different video option or different still photo option that will actually work with this. So your choices are fairly limited, and actually only get the lower resolution pictures while you're taking video. So it's not as awesome as you. It does have HDMI output. And yes, it was HDXC. Let's see if I can get a picture of it in here. The front panel where your finger comes down, here we go. Basically, under this is your USB port and your HDMI output. Of course, your finger is going to be resting on this in kind of like a natural pistol grip type position while you're holding it. And that just covers it up. I find it's, again, another little bit of a hassle to get to it, and then once you do get it off, try to plug something into it. Yeah, it just doesn't really work all that well. It does have tripod mount, which, as I've stated before in my previous video, is almost a requirement for me. And the battery cover is actually probably one of the better things on this, which I like more than the old camera, because it's pretty easy to get to. It's just there, pull it down, pop the battery up, put another one in. So yeah, there's not really much positive I can say on this here for you. I'm going to take a couple more test videos in the room where I record most of my other stuff at, and give y'all an idea of what the quality is in there. Alright, giving you kind of a general idea of what it looks like on my desk as usual. Standard, throw down a motherboard, give you an idea of some varying degrees of contrast. It does seem to make things very bright, and all I have on is my standard lighting like I normally do, my little desk lamp that shines down, and my standard room light. On the other camera, this was pretty dark still, but nowhere near as bad as it was from the look of it on this camera. So I'm going to go through and show you it with the light on. Okay, now this clip is with the little LED light on the camera. As you see here, you can kind of see some of the reflection of it there on it. In this case, it's probably not going to make anything stand out too much. In fact, it kind of seems to be drowning out some stuff with it. If I go through and just for the heck of it turn off my desk lamp, give you an idea of just how bright that actually is. Step back a little bit, that's how bright the room is. Step in, and you can really get an idea of about how bright this little guy is. Lots of reflectivity on it, so probably not the best subject to try and record that for. And now we've got the super macro mode enabled. So if I get really close to something here, you can really see the nitty-gritty details. And to give you an idea just about how close I am, I cannot get my finger between the camera and this port here. And this is sample video at 720, 60 frames per second. And that's a bit of a case review I'm going to do for you in a few minutes. Okay, as you can see from those still photos I just took there, there's a couple issues, so to say. One is, of course, the full auto mode that I took with the first set, which you could obviously tell were blurry as all heck. That's because it goes through, tries to adjust the shutter speed based on its lighting in the area, so it gets the maximum brightness out of the picture. The problem with that is it usually goes to something like shutter speed of like 1/3 a second or 1/8 a second. So the way you press the button, you press it down a little bit, then you press it a little bit further. As you can see, just my attempting to mimic that on the camera here itself on recording, you can see how much it can just move. So with a 1/3 or 1/8 shutter speed a second, yeah, it's going to get a very nasty blur effect. So the last couple, what I did is I went ahead, set to manual mode, had the shutter speed on, I want to say it was 125 or 100, and then took a couple pictures of that, and you could see they were much clearer, a lot less blur effect going on. So but so far in my 1 day or so of using this camera, feature wise, it's nothing really stands out on it. I find that the video quality is grainier than it should be, considering it claims to be full HD, and the picture quality, it basically is falsely advertising. It is not 8 megapixels, it is 3 megapixels. And the optical zoom, I give it that. It is very nice optical zoom. The trick is you just have to really get your focus in way beforehand, because as you can see, I zoomed in here and this is standard focus mode now, and it just really doesn't work that well on something that's actually this close to you. I was hoping to actually get it a little bit better, but the focusing, once you zoom in, it just goes to hell. So, but 10x zoom, supposed to be HD, okay quality, could be better. Price for this thing is about $230 compared to the last one I got that was about 120, or was 160. I want to say I'll go high. The last one was 160. The last one had a little bit better features on it all around, and I would say this would be an okay camera, but it's a little difficult to like for its price tag. And as you just saw there, one other little thing I want to add in before I end this video is there is no lip between the lens and the grip. So what'll happen is you can actually sometimes just adjust your finger a little bit, and you'll see it comes into the range of the camera. So you got to really kind of take a little bit of a more aggressive grip and have it down further instead of choked up on it more. So, but overall, I would I would not really recommend this camera, considering the fact that it basically lies to you on what the resolution is. It's a little bit grainier than it really should be for its price range. That's something I expect from a much cheaper camera. And that's really it. That's all I can say about it. So until next time, I'll see you later.